All right, my friends, today talking about some more Stoic philosophy, Epictetus, Discourses and Selected Writings. This is the third of the so-called trilogy of books on Stoicism. I've got them here to show you. You have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and you also have Letters from a Stoic by Seneca, and then Epictetus, which is what we're talking about today, this one. So I read them in that order: Meditations, Letters from a Stoic, and then Discourses. And they all complement each other, as you would expect. They all show you the breadth of Stoic philosophy and give you advice on how to put it into practice. But on that note, that is what I've really gotten from this final book of the trilogy, so to speak, from Epictetus, is this emphasis on what you're learning, this philosophy. Are you learning it only to memorize it and to regurgitate it to others, to parade it around and tell others about what you've read? Or are you actually putting in the work to live out this philosophy? Are you actually putting it into practice in your own life, in your own personal life? So on that note, I have a little excerpt here. He says, "Of course, you can produce thousands who talk the Stoic talk." And he goes on to say, "Show me someone untroubled with disturbing thoughts about illness, danger, death, exile, or loss of reputation. By the gods, I want to see a Stoic." So Epictetus is saying here, I want to see someone who has actually put this into practice, who's actually living proof of this philosophy. And I think we could apply that to all things that we read. And this is something I've been thinking about over the past week or so, asking myself, whether it's Stoic philosophy, whether it's Carl Jung, whether it's no matter what it is, what I'm reading, what I'm learning, am I actually adapting it to my life? Am I actually practicing it in my life? So I think that's something important to keep in mind as we all continue to learn various things throughout our life. How do we take what we learn and use it to our advantage to enhance or augment our life? So that's one thing in particular I'm getting from reading Epictetus, along with his many examples of Stoic philosophy and his many analogies that he gives. If you wanted one portion of the book to read, say you just wanted one particular chapter, it's one of the longer chapters. Many of the chapters are quite short, but it's towards the back of the book. It's called On Freedom. I think this gives a general overview of Stoic philosophy in general. It gives a lot of analogies on what true freedom is, speaks on this idea of slavery, all the way from being an actual slave in Rome to say that someone who lived their life as a slave in Rome was then freed, and they thought that all their problems would go away. They even progress in their life and in their social standing all the way to the point of having a wife and children and all these different things and responsibilities, and they realize that they're still a slave to their own internal emotions and to all of these external forces that are along with their internal forces pulling them this way and that in all these different directions, and that they really have no control over what they do, what they think about, and their time. And so it harkens back to the original foundation of Stoic philosophy of understanding what is within your control and what is beyond your control, knowing oneself and being at true peace with your current circumstance and with who you are as a person. Now, on that note, I had thoughts about when it is appropriate to accept your position, to accept your circumstance, versus when is it appropriate to push back, to fight back. You know, he speaks of Socrates. He says Socrates is an example of a man who has a wife, who has children, who has these external, responsibilities beyond only himself. Yet when the rubber meets the road and it comes time to either fight back or accept his death, when he's sentenced to death, Socrates did not lament it. He didn't show any signs of distress. He simply accepted it. Now, Epictetus says that by doing this, he did the most good overall for mankind in that decision than any other alternative course of action he could have taken. And we can see retrospectively now that this is true in the sense that his decision to accept death so gracefully and to accept what was within his control, which was his own reaction to the circumstance, has been an inspiration for mankind for literally thousands of years now. But I think about my own life, I think about certain situations. I wouldn't want to be too quick to simply just accept everything that comes my way and say, oh, well, that's fine. But I don't think that's the point. I think that the point is to understand what is within your control and then make a decision. Are you going to do something about it or not? And to understand what's truly beyond your control and to say, well, does it make any difference if I spend this energy and this time thinking about it and worrying about it? Being able to separate the two and being able to act accordingly. I've got a reference to a page here. It's a section on how we should struggle with circumstance. He says, don't be a greater coward than children who are ready to announce, I won't play anymore. Say, I won't play anymore when you grow weary of the game and be done with it. But if you stay, don't carp. So I think that's the answer, is make a decision. Know yourself. Know what's within your control and what isn't. And if you choose that this is a situation that's worth your time and energy to push back against, to contend with, then don't question it. Do that. See it through. But by all means, don't stay somewhere ambiguously in the middle, struggling with this idea of, well, should I do something, should I not? Well, I'll put in half effort and then I'll stress about how that's not enough. No, don't do that. Either accept it as it is and move on, or accept that you've decided that you're going to do something about it and pursue it. And while you pursue it, understand the perceptions of others, all these other external factors, they're not within your control. So do what you can, and that's that. Stoicism, as I've covered in my other video on Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, has helped me a lot in my life, particularly through difficult times. It's helped me to understand my position in the world and to differentiate between what is within my realm of responsibilities in terms of how I conduct myself in this life, understanding all of the distractions that are beyond my control, comparing those to the things that are within my control and accepting the responsibility for myself. And as Epictetus emphasizes in his writings here, to maintain a focus on that practice and to continually ask yourself if you're truly integrating what you're learning through the philosophies that you study or that you adhere to, and are you really integrating those into your own personal life? So that's Epictetus. And if you're interested in Stoic philosophy, if you're new to the idea, the concepts, and you're wondering out of these 3 books that I have here, what to read first, I think you wouldn't go wrong by reading any of them. But traditionally, the most popular of the 3 is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I have a video on that, but in general, if you just wanted advice, you wanted someone to let you know which book they thought you should start with, I would start with that one. But you can't go wrong with any of the 3. And ultimately, I would suggest reading all 3. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Epictetus. And if you have any questions, then please let me know. If I've got an answer for you that I think is valuable, I'll be sure to get back with you. And if you have thoughts on what I've said here, then please let me know. I love engaging with you all and learning from you all and your different perspectives on things. That's one of my goals here, is to develop a sort of community around just trying to better ourselves and further our knowledge in different areas. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.